people are diagnosed, obviously, with PKD every day. Many people don't know that it has even existed in their families or it's spontaneously erupted with them. For someone who doesn't know what PKD or how one gets PKD, can we get your insight on that?
What is PKD? PKD is, it's not a specific disease per se in that it's caused by one thing. It's a classification of a disease that is characterized by the formation of cysts within the kidneys. So it's in the name, Polycystic Kidney Disease. Many cysts form within the kidneys. The difference between any individual will be what was the cause of the cystic disease. So there are two predominant mutations that are known. They were discovered back in the 90s, polycystin 1 and polycystin 2, or PKD1 and PKD2 are the genes. Those account for almost the majority, 90-some% of the total cases of polycystic kidney disease. But then there is a number of other mutations that are possible that cause polycystic kidney disease as well. It's just how it happens. And most of those are things that have to do with cilia. And so the cilia are these projections that come from the cell, and they kind of are in our kidneys. They're on the cells that align the tubules, and they are monociliated. So there's a single cilium that are each one of these kidney cells. And those, if they're disrupted in any way, will also lead to polycystic kidney disease. And since that complex that forms the cilium, there's so many proteins that are associated with that. A mutation in any one of a number of proteins will cause polycystic kidney disease. So those are the minority, because those also cause a lot of other weird abnormalities in development. Cystic kidneys might not be your main issue at that point. There's things like sinus inversus, which is a flipping of all of the organ left and right, symmetry flipped, where you might have it where there's no symmetry, where you have like a heart that is symmetrical or lungs that are symmetrical, liver, all those things. Early in development, those are the ciliopathies cause other problems. So it's not just these two genes that are the predominant ones, polycystin 1 and polycystin 2, but those are the ones that we think about the most. And most people that have PKD don't usually test for any of these things. Like if you go to the doctor, they're not going to test you at the genetic test. They're just going to diagnose you with AD-PKD, the autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. And that doesn't really matter like what gene you have. You have PKD, they're going to treat it as though you have AD-PKD, not knowing what was the cause per se. Yeah.
People say, we hear you have a 50% chance of inheriting it if you have a parent who has that. Is that pretty much the case? And does it vary whether your mom has it or your dad has it, or there are higher chances with one or the other or passing it on?
Yeah, so Mendelian genetics would say that if you have one allele on one chromosome and one allele on another chromosome, and they're randomly assorted in development, and so you're going to get a 50-50 chance of inheriting one of the two gametes from your parents. And so then that way, yes, it's a 50-50. I've looked into this because I've never heard this question before, and I was interested if there were any sort of research that had been looked at as like whether men or women are more likely to get it, or whether there were certain other traits. I couldn't find anything specific to that. This is like a lesson in evolutionary selection or evolutionary like theory, in that if you have a trait that allows for something to be passed on that is beneficial, if it gives you some benefit in early on in development, actually allow a trait to exceed the 50-50 mark, because things with that mutation will then get preferentially selected to fertilize an egg or a sperm in order to go faster, to be able to swim towards an egg, or to be the first one to bind with an egg. And I know that PC1 is involved in that process. So it'd be interesting to know like whether that actually would be better or worse. I think it's actually worse because it's involved in some of the calcium sensation mechanisms. And I don't know how much we need to get into fertilization and the development, but there could be some things that are there. But I don't think so, though. I would just say, short answer, probably not. But it would be interesting to know if there was some sort of connection there.
Right.
Yeah.